And our third speaker and the final speaker is Niloufar, Shahdoust. Nil is going to present her graduate work from in which she worked under the supervisions of Dr. Mohamed Reza Abolghasemi Dehakani and Babak Najdar Arabi in Machine Learning and Computational Modeling Lab in University of Tehran. Her talk is titled Comparison of Cortical Object Representation with Neuroscience-Inspired Deep Neural Network. Stage is yours, Neil.
Hello, everybody. Is my voice clear?
Yeah, it is.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Niloufar Shahdoust. I'm going to give you a keynote about the comparison of cortical object representation with neuroscience-inspired deep neural networks. Okay, let's start the story. There was a paper published in Journal Vision written by my professor, and in this paper, they wanted to study the accuracy of people in naming the identity of 110 different images, line drawing images on white background. And for these images, there were 3 different kind of versions of these images. The complete version had edges and vertices, and the vertex version did have vertices but did not have edges, and the edge version did not have vertices but had edges. And in order just to save the time, I didn't put the paradigm of this task because it is not done by me, and but the results are here. And as you see, the accuracy of people on complete version of images are the highest, and it is worth mentioning that each image was shown about 250 milliseconds to each subject, and subjects were some teenagers. And then what was really interesting for us was this part. In this part, it shows that people tend to have higher performance for identifying images that had vertices. I mean, these images, and the performance was significantly high for vertex images in compared to edge images. It shows that for human beings, the vertices were much more important than the edges. And we wanted to explore, to investigate these results. I mean, we wanted to compare these results with deep neural networks. And at first, by going through the literature, we expected that the deep neural networks would have higher performance on images that had edges and didn't have vertices. I mean, these kind of images. So in order to do this, I had to create my data set. So what I did, I used a Python augmented pipeline function, and I just applied a random combination of rotation, scaling, flipping, and distortion of distortion transformations on each and every images of these three versions of my data set. And finally, I created a data set which had 110 classes of different identities, and each class had 30 images. And then I had to design a network, and I designed based on some brain-inspired networks like CoreNet, and I created 4-layer convolutional networks followed by 2 fully connected layers. And here are the characteristics of my network and the training of my network. And then what I did, I trained the network on complete version of my images, and then saved the network, and then tested it on vertex and edge version of my images. And unlike what we expected, as you see, the pattern of categorization, I mean, the pattern of accuracy was exactly as human, and it was quite interesting for us. And after investigating a lot throughout the data, and in this difference, I mean, difference in accuracy was not related to the statistics of the data set, but was related to the representation of my data set in my network. So what I basically did, I just created the RDM, I mean, representational dissimilarity matrix for all the images in all the categories for all the 4 layers of my network for all 3 versions of my data set. By looking at this, we cannot understand that much. I mean, we cannot get to, a lot of information, but here is the gist of this part, which is the RDM of RDM or second order RDM, or the Kendall-tani correlation between all the RDMs shown here. And the more blue and a cell is, it shows the more similarity between different layers of the network. And if you take a look at here, we will see that the difference between 2 results are due to the difference between the representations of images. I mean, the representation of images of Vertex data set between Vertex data set and complete data set are much higher than the representation of edge data set and complete data set. And especially for the first 2 layers, which was a really interesting concept that we understood. And here is another representation, I mean, a visualization of the result, which, I mean, the blue curve is the Kendall-tani correlation between the complete data set and Vertex images, and the green part is the Kendall-tani correlation. I mean, the red part is a Kendall-tani correlation between edge images and complete images. And as you see, for all the layers of the network, the Kendall-tani correlation between complete images and Vertex images are higher than the complete, higher than edge version of images. And after investigating a lot, we thought that this difference between paying attention to the, vertices of the images and the edges of the images, it is due to the inductive bias of deep neural networks. It shows that, deep neural networks have good inductive bias toward vertices, and it will pay more attention to the vertices rather than edges, whereas in classical machine vision, the attention was more on the edges of images rather than vertices. And to be more specific, inductive bias is some set of assumptions about the target function and the input data that is injected to a network. And last, I wanted to thank you all for listening to my keynote, and I'm open to answer to your questions.
Thank you, Neil, for your nice work and for your nice, beautiful talk. And one question is asking, for your data set, is it available publicly? I think he's asking for.
No, it is not available publicly. It is created by us, and I think that it won't be publicly available. But I think that there are some kind of images created by Google, I think, and there are some line drawing images, maybe. Okay, I think it is called Sketch Data Set.
Good to know. And Hojat Azimi is asking, why did you choose 4 layers?
Actually, this 4-layer represents 4 stages of the brain, and it is more inspired by the CoreNet Z of CoreNet Z network. I mean, the first layer represents the V1 part of the brain, and the second layer represents the V2, and the third layer represents V4, and the last layer represents the IT part of the stages of human vision.
Okay, I mean, one quick question. Do you think if you use CNN, you will see these differences, edge and the vertex, what you're presenting here?
Could you please repeat your question? CNN?
Currently, I think you are using DNN, right? Deep neural networks.
It is a CNN. Yeah, it is a CNN.
It is CNN, okay.
Yeah, it is a CNN, yeah. What I want to do for the future work, I want to do the whole experiment on LowNet, AlexNet, and CoreNet Z and even Cornet R, because Cornet R has some recurrent, recurrent parts, which is more similar to human brain. Or maybe I can just design a new network with recurrent parts.
I think you have very nice and clear hypotheses to test on different models and then see how they are going to behave. Yeah, that looks good. Is there any other questions from our panelists to each other?
Well, I'm curious if you are going to test it on brain data to see.
Yes, yes. I have a brain data from a monkey, which the monkey was shown passively 3 different, all of these images, but they have just categorized, they haven't categorized the identity of these images, but they have categorized the version of these images. For example, if you take a look at here, in this study, in this test, they have, for example, they haven't written that a spoon was shown to a monkey, but it was written that an image was shown to the monkey, which is from the category of complete images or vertex images or edge images. So I can easily compare the data. The representational, the representation of all of these 3 versions of my data set with my network. Yeah, from the monkey brain with my network. And I think that I have data, spiking neural data collected from 4 neurons of a monkey brain.
I think one further steps can be, if you have a background, then you're identifying the object from the background. Are you using edges or vertex, and how the models are performing to detect that? Because currently you're just using the object itself, right? But that's not real in the real life. We are always segregating these objects from each other. Yeah, I think you have a very beautiful direction to go.
Yeah. I will check all of the hypotheses. There are lots of hypotheses. I can create a lot of, many different data sets of this data set, and I can check everything on the network or any other network.
I think at this stage, I would like to thank all our speakers, Jessica, Parisa, and Neil, for your beautiful talks, times.